this is part one. I don't know how many parts there'll be total, but I'm at one of my favorite places to walk out in nature. And I hadn't been out here since November until it was either late February or early March. And I hiked all the way to the summit, and there's a big rock overlook. And I was just heartsick because someone had brought spray paint with them. A very obnoxious color too. You'll see it here in a little bit because when I get up there, I'll take some more video, but it's a very obnoxious yellow. And I'm sure it's young people, teenagers, young adults, who haven't quite grown a conscience or concern about other people or nature. And maybe they never will, but certainly they haven't yet, or they wouldn't have done it. And I started doing research to figure out how to get the paint off the rocks. And I contacted the fellow who oversees it's a nature preserve, and he oversees the grounds. And I got permission to see if I could experiment with some cleaning solutions to try and get the paint off the rocks and return them to as close to their natural way of being as possible, and to just restore the beauty. And so today's the day. And I mean, there's no water up there. There's no streams or creeks or springs or ponds or anything. So everything has to be packed in. So I'm just taking enough up with me today to see if it'll work. So I'm packing about a little over 4 gallons of water and a pump sprayer. And in my backpack here, I've got the utensils. I've got a few brushes, scrub brushes, wire brush, and the cleaning solution to see if it'll work. It's a special made stuff for graffiti on stone. And protective eyewear, gloves, the stuff you need just to be practical on a windy day so you don't burn your retinas with cleaning solution. But I'm taking a break because it's all uphill from here. Already come up a fair amount of incline, and now I'm at the base of, I don't know, you could almost call it Dead Man's Climb, because it is the steepest leg of the journey, but not the only steep leg of the journey. So I'm resting before I pack the water and gear the rest of the way, but just documenting what it's like out here when you're trying to do what you feel is the right thing to do and not become bitter when fellow humans are not at an evolved place in their mind and choices, and they seek to destroy. And even if they weren't seeking to destroy or deface, that's the end result. Even if what they were actually seeking to do was feel elation and feel like they kind of had some power and were leaving their mark, literally, somewhere on the world. But you do the right thing. You clean it up. Somebody makes a mess. If you can, yes, they should clean it up. They should be made to clean it up. And if you can't, because I don't know who these people are, and nobody does, or maybe somebody does, but maybe not somebody that would hold them accountable, then you do the next thing. You clean it up. And you don't get bitter about it. And in all honesty, I was thinking about this drive walking up here. When I was in my youth, I had a day where I was in an emotional state of upset, and I went out with a can of spray paint and I defaced some of nature. I didn't paint on rocks, I painted on trees. So maybe this is some of my karma. You never know. But anyway, I'll document the journey. Wish me luck getting up this steep hill with all this water. See you on the other side. I don't know if you can appreciate with the way it shows up on the video. I'm only halfway up. I don't know if you can fully appreciate the incline there. This is the stopping off point. My spray bottle and the water over there. And then that's where I've got yet to go. And even when you see the crest of what you can see at in the trail, that's not the end of it. It goes way on beyond that point, almost a straight up vertical. So I'm just taking a breathing break, rebuild my stamina, and I'll continue on. Decided to stop again. That's the rest of the way I've got to go. And behind me, where you see that fellow in the person in the t-shirt down there, was the top of that peak I just showed. So we got a ways to go. Packing almost 5 gallons of water, however heavy that is. So I'm taking a water break, and I don't know if I can. I'm at the top of that steepest part. I don't know if you can see it behind me. It's just really a massive hill. And then you can probably see, I tell you, I just am blinded by the light, so I can't really see what's behind me. I can't even see myself in the screen. But there's a little rest bench here. And then it'll be a little flat for a while until the next vertical. But the next vertical is not near as bad or as steep and long as this one. So bit by bit, step by step. Something interesting just to note is that a young couple, I don't know if they're dating, I don't know if they're friends or what the nature of their relationship is, none of my business, but came up behind me and we stopped and talked for a little bit. And this is not a judgment, it's an observation. That there's no, what do you call that? There's no window of consciousness that opened up in their mind to ask if I would like help carrying this heavy water and the pack up the mountain, and they're headed to the summit. So it's a reminder to me, more than anything, to always be conscious and present in the presence of others, especially when you learn a little bit about maybe what kind of situation they're in, and see if there may not be something you could do to offset their burden a little bit, maybe carry their water jug a little bit. Okay, on with the journey. Yeah, now here's some of the fun stuff. You get into these mucky areas of the trail, trying to pack water across, and there's not a lot of room to go around it, and I am not exactly wanting to walk through it. But it's kind of like life, right? You know what your destination is, what your objective is, where you're trying to get to, and you even know the route to it, and you're on that route. But the weather conditions can bring surprises, such as runoff from recent rains, and you have to figure out a way to navigate onward and get around these challenges, which is what I'm gonna do. Onward. So just a little bit more, that's the trail behind me, and this is more of the trail ahead. You can see it goes back up. That's still not the steepest last vertical, but it is steep enough, I'll say. So I'm taking another break. Whew, golly, taking another break. So I've gotten up that last incline that I showed, and you can see, maybe back in the distance, I can't tell what's showing up, although it's a little better. That bench, yeah, there it is, I think. There's a bench right there. I think that's the bench. The Boy Scouts have come up and done a lot of this work. Clearly you can see that trees that fall across the trail have to be sawed and pushed out of the way. This was a huge tree back behind me that for the first couple of years that I hiked up here, that tree was intact but uprooted, and it's huge. It's all of these stumps that you saw just a moment ago came off this tree. And so they came up sometime back in the fall and decided to cut the tree and reopen a part of the trail that had started routing around the tree. And when they did that, it rerouted itself. It just, when they took that weight off, it pulled itself back into the hole, because where this tree stump is, Yeah, so where the roots and stuff are, that was all laid out this way, and it was just a huge cavity down in there, and we used to walk around it on the backside, and it's just one of those things that a lot of people might not know. That's I guess it's physics, but it's kind of how things happen when you're out in nature and maintaining hiking trails. Anyway, I had to take a break because I'm not in the best of shape, given that we're just now moving into spring, and it's been a cold, soggy, stormy spring at that, so not a lot of good weather for getting out and building up your hiking stamina. And I freely admit that I'm not much on winter exercise. So if I were making this climb without any added weight, it would be challenging enough. But to be making this climb carrying a pressure sprayer that's got about 2.5 gallons of water in it, and also an extra jug with about 2.5 gallons of water in it, a little under, and my backpack, it's a challenge. So it's a reminder that we should always pace ourselves and not try to overdo, but not give up and just stop either. So I just keep seeing myself already there. I see myself in my mind's eye already at the summit, and I'm already cleaning the graffiti. And I've even seen myself on the return trip with my water jugs emptied so that they weigh a lot less as I head back down the mountain. So life's like that. We take on a challenge. Hopefully we know our intention, which is a good, honorable intention, and we set out on the journey. And we may or may not know exactly the trail, but we find enough of a trail. Sometimes we have to make our own trail. And even the trails that we know and the paths that we follow may greet us with unexpected obstacles, like muddy pits from the rains, or down trees, or fallen rocks, or just our own mortality, where we have to stop and take breaks. The key to stopping and taking the break is that you do take the break, but you continue on, which is what I'm getting ready to do. This is more of the trail, and it's the last vertical. I've come that far, taken another break, and I've still got to go up that incline. Pretty good little piece before I get to the top of the mountain. And once I'm at the top, then it's pretty level over to the lookout where the graffiti is. So this climb would actually be aided by lower temperatures. It's about 80 degrees, I think, already. I haven't checked, but I think it's supposed to go up to around 80, and it feels like it's probably about there. So, to be continued. Here's a little bit of the view before I get to the overlook, where you can see out over the land far below from the top of the mountain. It's just beautiful. If you can ever make it to a mountaintop and look over at the flat land below, I highly recommend it. It's a great analogy for life, which is to expand or elevate your perspective when you're looking out at the world. You may be surprised at how much more you'll see and come to understand the lay of the land. So this is the overlook. That's the first graffiti. I'm just going to document this real quickly so you can see how, well, I won't even be able to show you all of it because a lot of it's down over the cliff. That's some of it. I can't even see it, so right up here I can't see my screen, but maybe it's showing up. You go down below on the underside of these rocks. So I brought water and a spray tank and some graffiti remover. We'll try to clean it up. But look at that view. Wow. Windy up here though. So I'm up here waiting for the solution to finish up. It's doing pretty well so far. I'll take some video footage of just that here in a minute. But it's kind of funny that out of necessity sometimes we just MacGyver our way through things. And you'll notice that the t-shirt sleeves are now missing. This t-shirt had sleeves when I started out on the journey, and it's because I forgot to bring rags. And I needed rags, so I just whipped out my pocket knife and cut the sleeves off my t-shirt. So I've done a round of I don't know how well this is showing up again, I just can't hardly see. I've done one round where I've saturated it and then scrubbed it, so it looks like that. That's a rag, one of my sleeves laying there in the middle. And then I did this one over here as well. I just cannot see anything. There we go, maybe that's it. So I put a second coat of the solution on it after I agitated it with the scrub brush. It's coming off halfway decent. I definitely wanted to get that one because it had KKK on it. And then the Boy Scouts or whoever the other volunteers are that come up can come and clean up some of the rest of this. You can see that it's all the way on the sides of the rocks as well. There's more down there. It's showing up. So, I don't know if you can see that over there. But Waylon and whoever Kay is had big fun up here the day they spray painted their eternal love for each other. So, I'm gonna get my shadow out of there. This is the after on that rock. And we'll pan over to this rock. Looks quite a bit better, I would say. So I'm going to say mission accomplished. And now the volunteers can come back with more supplies and clean up the rest of it. So I've come and cleaned the graffiti for the day and enjoyed the beautiful view at the summit. I have met a few friendly strangers on the trail today, quite a few people out. It's Good Friday. It's one of the hottest and sunniest days we've had this spring. And so now I'm headed home.